What's up, YouTube? I guess this is the brainstorming video right here. My next step is to just simply get some kind of 5 horsepower, 6 horsepower, somewhere in that same range engine mounted to this guy and rolling forward. The approach I'm going to take is keeping the pedals. Obviously I gotta do some way or another, but that is going to be a secondary. Excuse me, that's going to be probably a third class item, a third class goal in this. Obviously goal number 1 is to get an engine mounted up and driving this thing forward. Now what other people have, on YouTube have done, other bikes I've seen, and just several mini bikes, is they have a giant gear in back. And as far as what's commercially available, 72 teeth is about as big as it gets. Now I'm looking down on the hub on this guy right here, and what people have done in the past, that appears quite successfully, is just simply mounted a large 72 tooth gear to this hub back here. Now I got a little Harbor Freight welder, and I would like to think that that would be enough juice to weld that guy up nice and tight after I got that gear. Not to mention a gear, I'm looking around and it's like 20 bucks. Definitely cost effective as far as that goes. And then the beauty of it is all one needs is a chain. Excuse me, when I say gear, I mean sprocket, not literal gear, not to be confused. Now, 2 ways I would do it. I'd either do it on the left side or the right side. The problem on the right side is I already have a gear system here. What I could do is, this would be such a pain, but I could bore out the hub of the larger 72 tooth gear and fit it on top of this guy right here to fit into that, and then weld that in place. That would be such a pain in the ass, but it could be done. Welded and or bolted / welded. Then from there, mounting the engine would be the next thing to do. What I'm looking at right here is that there's not a whole lot of space. This looks fairly large. Let's get a good picture here. This looks fairly large. What I might end up doing is, I have no idea how complex this is, but obviously the exhaust system on a little engine can be unbolted. So the muffler can be, unbolted and rerouted, and fabricating an exhaust system is a pain in the ass, but not impossible. Not impossible. I'd rather have an engine that sits in the right place and have a screwy exhaust system than not be able to just simply put an engine in here. Then the other concept is the gas tank. A lot of these little engines that I'm looking at come with a gas tank already, and the gas tank appears to be mounted to the top of the engine. There's no doubt in my mind that one could unbolt those, but in order just to have a clearance fit, I see it as the engine slanted this direction right here, and as in the head facing up towards the handlebars, just to make better use of the fit. I'd like to move it as far forward as possible, just to keep things clear, just to keep enough room back here. And then the tank itself, the same way I'd be removing the muffler, just taking them off the engine, just for clearance purposes. I'd love to put a little mock motor style gas tank up top right here. I've seen those things going for like 20 bucks, 20-30 bucks for those little 2-cycle kits, and I'm really not a fan of those 2-cycle kits, but the engines are really cool, not to mention they're painted already, and it just seems like just a real simple solution to my problem, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel or even moving an ugly tank from the engine up top there. So that's where I'm at right now. I still got to deal with the throttle body control, which should be fairly easy to do. Obviously, I'm gonna want to put that on the right side, just a traditional twist throttle system. This is a shout out. Anybody have any parts at all that think that they might be able to assist me in this project? By all means, toss them in a flat shipping rate box. Obviously contact me ahead of time here, but toss them in a flat rate shipping box, and I'd be more than happy to pay for the shipping, or if you want a couple bucks for it or whatever. I'm just talking about the trash. Like, I know somebody out there has a throttle body, has a throttle control, like a true twist throttle control, something like that. So just brainstorming here. I'm looking at the frame of this bike, and Hopefully you guys can see this. Definitely going to need some welding to be done on this guy to accommodate, to mount up to an engine. I'm just thinking, I've got plenty of scrap metal, just some flat bars just going across this, I don't know what you call it, just the bottom of the frame here. Just some flat steel with some holes drilled in it to mount up the engine would be the way to go. And thankfully, steel frame, steel stock, and steel is nice and cheap. Just get some 1/8, I don't know if 1/8 is too thin, but just weld the snot out of it. Weld the snot out of it and just accommodate that engine. Just bolt right to it. I see that as the simplest way right there. And as long as they get everything straight, is in the right angle for, you know, the clutch meeting a chain to the back of the wheel, I see that as just the simplest way to go right there.